And now I would like to bring you my guest. Please welcome Chad Morgan. Yes, indeed, Chad Morgan. Hey, Chad.
Hello. Hello.
Right. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're out there in sunny California. You got the California vibe in that window there.
I do. The sun is setting, so get it while you can. It's
Cool.
almost over.
So I'm going to shout out a few people in our chat room. Turco Ono's here. Juliette Pelletier is in the house.
Hi.
Ann Elliott's with us. Tom Burnett, T-Bird.
Hi, Elliot. Hi, Tom.
Yeah. Elizabeth Harder. Zulima, Letitza, and Noelle are here. Oh, Noelle. All right.
Yay.
Hey, right?
Yeah.
Jay Fest is in the house. The great poet Ron Cephas Jones is in the house. K-Cap. K-Cap was on last night with Benga, and was it Benga? No, it was Keith Shockley. And he basically was Keith Shockley's memory. Keith couldn't remember anything.
That's awesome.
And Jay Festa says, typical star actor, she's late. It's because we were all sitting here for 30 seconds waiting. Yeah, I know.
I thought I was lonely before, waiting for you to come get me. I was like standing outside your door with dinner.
Well, that green room was pretty nice, right? That you were sitting in?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's not green though, it's white.
Oh, that's true. Hi, Heather. Hi, Lauren. All right, so we got a great room. So people in the chat, keep saying hello. I'm going to get to your questions in a few minutes. We'll start with some of my questions first.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to meet you through Gina Rigolo in Hollywood when I was out there last year, and you read a staged production, a benefit production of my show, The Bench.
Yes.
And you blew people away, and yet you walked out of there going, really? Did I? And it was great because you came out of nowhere and you were just this magical presence. It was wonderful.
Oh. Galinsky. That's very nice. Thank you. That's really nice. It was awesome. It was an honor. I was really happy to be there. I was glad. It was a great group.
You did a great job. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
So you do a lot of voiceover and acting. So let me just jump into a real quick question right off the bat. Were you always, as a youngster, doing voices and trying weird things with your voice? Or was it something that you fell into once you started to get into the business and you discovered, hey, I got a knack for this, or people are picking up on this? How did you become, you do multiple voices for multiple shows.
Well, it's funny. Yes, as a kid, I did voices all the time. I was a super goofball. I was obsessed with SNL. That was my dream job, my goal. It was not something I aspired to once I got to LA, and it sort of just happened that I had a group of friends. We made this show called Robot Chicken, and then I just started working on that, and then was fortunate enough to work on Family Guy. But yeah, no, I was not pursuing that specifically, but I am realizing that I think because I was an only child and I was home and I was talking to myself all the time, I would just do voices and characters, and because that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm revisiting that world, being alone, talking to myself all the time.
Which, by the way, you told me you've been recording yourself lately. I might have to pressure you to play something or do something for us.
Okay. We'll see.
And you've got a little studio set up in your house, correct?
I do, little. It's very little. Closet sized, yes.
Yeah.
But those recordings I've been doing at home are just me walking around being delirious, essentially.
A goofy loner.
I'm not going into my closet and doing these voices. Might be pushing it a little bit.
What about where are you from, and when did you get to Hollywood? Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? And then just before you went to Hollywood, what were you doing that then you said, I got to go to Hollywood?
Well, I grew up in Atlanta, a suburb of Atlanta, Stone Mountain. I graduated high school a little bit early, had no interest in college, had never taken a drama class, and didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was working, just a job. And I took a drama class, fell in love, started studying theater, and within 2 years, I decided to move to LA. So went to a little bit of college and then was like, I'm out of here, man.
Cool.
And drove out.
Let's take a look at a couple pictures here.
Okay.
So, Robot Chicken.
What? Yep, so fun.
You were, everything I've read says you were the voice of multiple celebrities. Do you remember some of the celebrities that you did, and how did you become the voice of the celebrity voiceover person?
It was a gamble always, I think. I've done like Hillary Duff. I've even done Hillary Clinton. I've been a popsicle stick, which is not really a celebrity.
Right.
But I will say one of the most fun ones that I did was, oh my gosh, I'm going to draw a blank on her name right now. But I was the mom, the like oldest Golden Girl, like B. Arthur's mom.
Nice.
Which was awesome. Like that was probably one of my funnest voices. So I would go in and they would say, hey, we think you could do these, try these. And, if it worked, it worked. They would, always play something for me, and then I would just so I could hear what the voice sound like, and then I would copy the voice.
And were you guys, it feels like you guys were just banging these things out. Were you like, did you go in, hey, we got these 3 voices, these ideas, you record it, you try it out, you record, boom, you leave it alone, you walk away, you go do something else?
Yeah. But I will say that, that show was very special, or is very special, because it's like a group of friends. Like a lot of us knew each other. You're there, you kind of stay and watch other people because it's so fun and so funny. And Seth is a phenomenal director. He knows exactly what he wants. He knows how to get it. He knows how to tell you what he wants. And it's just really, really fun. And people are really funny, right? So that was, a super highlight to work on that show. I loved it.
Couple people, new people in chat. Laura Herman's here. LaShonda's here. Welcome. Heather Prescott, Jace, Tyler Geck, Jamie Meadis. All right. And Elizabeth Harder. She said, aye, Atlanta.
Aye, Elizabeth. All right. Yay.
Did some Family Guy.
Yes.
So I got a lot of people in the show that in the audience that are in the business or starting out in the business.
Okay.
So was it like the Contagious thing? Hey, she's really good at Robot Chicken. Why don't we pick her up or give her a call? Or did your agent reach out to them? Which way did it happen?
You know what? Family Guy was a really unique situation. I actually know Seth MacFarlane. He was my neighbor at the time, but this actually came through the casting director. She called up my manager at the time, and this casting director had cast me in a pilot at Warner Brothers a number of years earlier. And she called up and she said, listen, we have NPR is coming to record a table read. And normally at table reads, we just sort of, different people read more characters. But we would like to bring in some more actors to sit around and do this. So they brought me in to read this character, which was amazing and such a compliment, and terrifying, I will add, to have NPR there and all of these brilliant actors and writers sitting around this table. They recorded it, went on the radio, and then they called me afterward and said, we love what you do with the character. Will you come back and actually record the character for the show? Right. So yeah, so it was a really cool situation. I'd love to go back.
When I was in LA, I got invited to Seth's 40th birthday or 5th, must have been his 40th, about 2 years ago.
Oh yeah. Did he play piano?
No, it was a wild party. It was at the Chateau Marmont.
Oh yeah.
Lots of drinking and dancing and eating. It was pretty fun. Sacha Baron Cohen was there. Sarah Silverman was there. Bunch of really amazing people. You weren't there though. Jonathan Ames was there, but you weren't. I don't understand.
There. I'm out of the group now, man.
Okay.
Ran for the hills.
Turco Ono's got a question for you. Your feelings about Mel Blanc. You know who Mel Blanc is? Here's a little trivia. I met Mel Blanc. Mel Blanc did every voice of the Looney Tunes except Tweety and the Granny. He did every other voice.
Whoa. See, I should know that.
You got to look him up. He's amazing. He's passed away. I remember when I was a kid, my father took us to meet him because he was doing some kind of speech or something. And
wow.
Wild to watch him just go from Foghorn Leghorn till Sylvester to Bugs Bunny. It was boom in a split second. It was incredible. But Turco also has a follow-up. Have you ever had to do a male voiceover?
I think I did some males. I'm more little boys on Robot Chicken.
Uh-huh.
I used to like doing little boys because I had a joke that I used to tell in a little boy voice. What?
That's an interesting thing to say in this Me Too era.
That I like to do little voice. Hey, you know.
Jay Festa says, name dropper. Yeah, Jay, I went to his birthday party. Jonathan Ames invited me. I'll drop the name.
He does have good birthday parties. It's worth dropping, I will say.
Justin's in the house. Michael Swiske said that's all, folks. Let's go to another photo here and see what else we got to look at based on your career. Oh my God.
Ah!
You were in all of these.
Woo. Wow. There's some real goodies there, man, that you found.
What on here pops for you as like a memorable experience?
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say Taken. I'm going to go with Taken.
Okay. Well, this is a new game. All right. For 5 points, let's go to Taken. Tell us
Taken, episodes.
The interesting experience, or what was the thing that sticks out about Taken for you?
You know what? So Taken was a miniseries that it was Steven Spielberg executive produced, and I had to go on tape for Steven Spielberg, which, by the way, was, you know, like alone was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna watch my tape. And I had to do, I think it was like 14 pages on tape, aging from like 17 to 45. And I did it, and I was like, whew, I got through that one. And then I got the job, and I always just thought to myself, you know, Steven Spielberg hired me. You know, like I just loved thinking that. I still like to think that. I'm not totally sure that he did or not, but I like to think that he did.
I'm sure he did. We may go back to that page.
Yeah.
All right, Purge. That was a pretty harrowing film.
You know what? I got that job. I had no idea what that movie was. I didn't even know. But I remember my husband at the time, who's no longer, but he called me up when I got the job. I said, I'm doing this movie. He goes, do you know this movie? And I said, no. And he sent me the trailer for the first one. And I was just flabbergasted. It was terrifying. But so I did it. And you know what? It was a really great experience. I was a good guy. So I have that to be proud of.
So all right, little bit of name dropping here and there. So we did some of that. Now, that brings me to a question I've always had, never asked you, is like Hollywood life. You know, you're on Robot Chicken, you're hanging out with some really top level people that are working and making things, movers and shakers. Can you give the young actors and actresses that are watching right now any sense of what that's like to go from Atlanta, I think I'm going to go to LA to act, and then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but at some point you're now, you know, on equal footing as a peer with a lot of powerful people. What's the Hollywood life like in that respect?
Well, I think it's sort of, it's double-edged, right? I mean, I think there are a lot of fun aspects to it. You can meet a lot of really talented, fun people, go to a lot of really fun events, learn a lot if you take advantage of the opportunities. But you also get a real sense of, you know, that it's not everything. I mean, it doesn't bring you happiness. It doesn't fulfill your life. You're not gonna, you know, you don't turn into a different person because of it. It's nice. I mean, I think I have both ends of it.
Some people do turn into a different person, and
that's true, and they don't stay, they're not necessarily like who they'd be proud to say they are, right?
And what about I know we usually talk about fun things, but why not this? What about the Me Too stuff? What can you say about that whole movement and or that whole phenomenon of women and how you're treated? I mean, and you're an attractive woman, so were you faced with a lot of that casting couch stuff?
You know what? I can say that I didn't have a lot of it, but I definitely did have some of it. And I had something pretty big happen to me really, really early on in my career. Luckily for me, I was super in love at the time and was like willing to fight for not, you know, letting this person step into my sphere and take advantage of me in order for an exchange to get work or whatever it was. But this person felt very comfortable sort of approaching me in that way. I I didn't ever go into it. I can't say, I don't think I would have had I not been in love, but it just happened to be, but it worked out in my favor because I said, hey, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
And I ended up remaining friends with that person and ended up working with them. And, it all ended up being okay. But I would say, like, over the years, there have been moments. I've been on a set before where, with some very heavy hitters, and on the set in the moment, they asked me if can we maybe just not have a bra on here, like pressured me. It was sort of like Boys Town.
Yeah.
Because it was a bedroom scene, and I was like, no, and they really just kept pushing me. We won't show anything. You'll sort of just be behind him, and I can't say now because I don't know how much has changed really. I'm much older. I don't know if people would still approach me that way, if it really has changed in the face of it. But, I don't think it ever, I don't ever think it works out for people the way they think it's going to. When they step into that realm. It's a dangerous place, but I hope it's changed. I really do.
A couple more new folks in the chat room here. Carrie's in the house. Cindy Hernandez is back. Dylan Mooney out there in LA and Hollywood. He's got an incredible company that actually supports this show called actortrade.com. You got to check it out. You'd love it. It's actors getting on their phones or their computers or their devices and uploading sides together and split screen, running lines together with.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Right there. It's really brilliant. Actortrade.com.
We need that.
So Jay wants to know, has her love life been affected by the coronavirus lockdown? Silent.
Yes.
All right. We might come back to that one. Andrew Einhorn has a question. Are there voices you love to do but haven't been hired to do, or perhaps are there voices you do that your friends or family love, and maybe those voices need to be heard? But are there voices you've heard or characters that you've heard and you haven't been hired and you kind of wanted to?
I gotta tell you, I got so many voices. They're all stacked up. They're stacked up. I got so many. I don't even know where to begin.
I heard
that I would love to do. I want to make a show, and let's just do crazy voices. Can we?
Yeah. Let's practice right now.
Yeah.
All right,
I love doing voices. My kids, I'm crazy with my kids, and they have total. They let me go for it, and they laugh, and it's. So I don't have any specific voices particularly that I'm obsessed with. They change all the time.
We're gonna play a game with our chatters. Type in a couple of characters, not movie stars, not names that we know, but like occupations.
Oh Lord, are you serious?
Yeah, we'll do it together. I'll take.
Oh, you're gonna do one?
I'll give it a try. So if we'll see what kind of occupations and maybe quirkiness these people type in, and we'll see if we can grab a couple of moments with it.
All right.
Before we do that, though, K-Cap says, "Such a beautiful and talented woman." Yeah. Dylan Mooney from Actor Trades wants me to point out that you also on actortrade.com, you can self-tape.
Oh, great.
Yes. Brilliant.
Yes.
Scott's in the house. Got some more questions here. And let's see. Elizabeth Harder wants to know, how did you know you wanted to become an actor?
I didn't know. Honestly, it was the first acting class that I ever took. I took it at the Alliance Theater Company in Atlanta. I just, on a whim, I didn't know what I was doing with my life, and I had always been curious, and I went and took this class, and it was, I just fell in love. I just felt like I was home. I just felt, and it's been like the longest love affair of my life. It's the only thing I've never let go of, because it has it reaches right into that place, nowhere else.
Gekko Ono's got another question. After you've done a voice and you leave it for a while, is it hard to get that voice back?
Ooh, I haven't really had that, but I have a podcast that I did this last year that we're hoping to continue. It's very much just my voice, but hopefully I'll still go there. I think I've found that a couple of times when I do ADR, more so, but not really. I haven't really had that because I haven't had to rematch anything.
All right, I'm asking the chat for not not for actual characters for us to imitate, but types of people or characters for us to create. So, because we got Wilma Flintstone from Tammy T and Olive Oil. I mean, unless you can do either one of those.
You know what? I'd have to hear something, because that's how I hear it, and then
Scott Fulvey said teacher. So let's give teacher an attitude. How about a teacher that's really nervous and underconfident? Okay.
Oh, that sounds like me every Tuesday when I teach class. Okay.
And somebody else wrote, Elizabeth wrote pimple popper. So I'll be a pimple popper student in your classroom, and you'll be a very underconfident teacher. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever. Just here we go. Oh,
Billy. Oh, Billy, stop. You just got,
But it's bothering me.
chalkboard. Can you just get that off? Just get it off.
It splattered on the chalkboard, but that's okay, isn't it? Can't we do something?
No. I can't look. Please, Billy, get it off. Get it off.
and cut. Nice. Great job.
Okay.
Someone said a nurse that's running late. I love this. This is a new way to play.
Oh, geez, a nurse that's.
And I'm your patient. Okay.
Hey, what? What's wrong? Sorry, I'm just. I've been late. I'm late. I was in the bathroom checking. I'm late still.
Oh.
Sorry. What's up?
You're late for your period? Oh, I'm sorry. It's very personal. I didn't know. I thought you were just late.
You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it.
Okay. And cut. Nice. All right. Louisa's in the house.
Louisa.
All right. I gotta let's go back to some more of we're closing in on the half hour. So let's go back to some more
All right.
of your life here. So is this you at home in the home studio? What is this? Is this you?
Oh, that's actually the podcast that I did this last year. It's called Derelict. It's great. You can find it on Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere. But we had a blast. We all got together and went nuts in space.
Cool.
It's very dramatic.
And where
Check
is?
it out, please go listen.
What's it called again?
Derelict. Derelict. Yes.
And there you are with Josh Brolin, and I barely recognized you because your hands are up here and your ears look a lot bigger. And
I know I have really tiny ears too. It's funny you say that.
you look like a monkey in this picture. Oh wait, that's not you. Oh no, actually, I didn't recognize you because you look like you're 14 and you have like 30 extra pounds on you. What's up?
Here's a funny story. Okay, so I got called in for this is a William Inge play called Picnic that they made into a movie. I originally was reading for, they wanted me to read for this role, and she's 14. I was 26, and I said, I think I should go for the older sister. And they said, well, we feel pretty strongly, we want you to do this. Okay, so I end up getting this. So I think I was 15, I was supposed to play 15. Gretchen Mol at the time was younger than me. It was Favored Nations, we all show up, this is funny. So I got the job. So the thing I would like to say to actors is, don't ever box yourself in, because casting directors can see so much more than you can see about yourself. And sometimes you can screw yourself. Luckily in that situation, I did not. I was willing to go in, I got the job. But it was funny because I showed up on set and it was Favored Nations and everybody had these huge trailers and it was the middle of the summer in Texas. And I showed up and had this little honey wagon because they literally thought that I was 15. Everybody got rental cars and these like super suites. And I was like, what is up? Like,
where's your chaperone?
Yeah. So I had to like call up SAG. It was a whole deal. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't make too big of a stink, but I did make sure. But I didn't want them to see me as older. I really wanted them to see me as this younger version of me.
I'm sure a lot of people want to know. I want to know, what was Josh Brolin like?
He was so great. He was awesome. In fact, I ran into him a couple years ago at a screening and I was like, hey, and he still was talking to me like I was 15 and we hung out and we talked for a bit and it was really nice. He's a great guy. We became very close, all of us. It was an ensemble. We were 6 weeks in Texas. So.
And you said it was called Picnic, which means that J.O.
Yeah.
Sanders was also in that, right?
Yes, that's where I met Jay.
Oh my goodness. Good Lord. What's going on here? What's
Yeah,
this
dude.
from?
So this is from, this is probably my favorite job I ever did. This is a little independent film that I did called Whatever. And we shot it in 1996, but we went to Sundance in 1998, and Sony Pictures Classics bought our film and put it in theaters. And to this day, it has just been like, it is one of my greatest experiences. We just had a 20-year anniversary. Well, they made 2 screenings because the first one sold out in New York. And we had a Q&A, and anyway,
Yeah.
it's a good one. I say check it out. It's
And
good.
this?
Oh, this is from Cold Case.
It looks very throwback.
Yeah, you know what? It was set during sort of the Rosie the Riveter time. I would played somewhat of a Rosie the Riveter. I think you might have another thing of me like that. But anyway, yeah, you know, it was, I actually learned a lot on that show about that time period and what we went through as a country, which is not unlike what we're going through now. But it was an awesome cast and crew. In fact, you know who was on that show? Was Rance Howard was on that episode, and so was Jenna Fisher.
Who's Rance Howard? What?
Rance Howard is Ron Howard's dad.
Gotcha.
And he played the older version of another character, and then Jenna Fisher, who was on The Office, she was on there, and I said, you know, we got to know each other, obviously, and she said, yeah, I just did this pilot called The Office, you know, it's the you know, American version. I was like, oh, how do you feel about it? She's like, I think it's really funny. I think it's gonna be really funny.
This.
Right? Oh, so this is a short that I just did this last year that I'm really proud of. It's called Dear Rosa, and the young filmmaker, Yarden, who did it is phenomenal. His eye is phenomenal.
Let me ask you a question. So
Yeah.
you're doing major motion pictures, you're doing major television shows, and then you're saying, this is a short film I did. So
Yeah.
a lot of people that are not in the business and people coming into the business may not understand the balance, or why would somebody who's done major stuff like that do a short film? You know, like I think there's a perception that you got to keep doing big things. Can you explain what that value is for you, or what it means to you to pick up a project that may not be major distribution and may
Yes.
not be on a major channel?
Well, I can say personally for myself, I love the art of filmmaking so much that being on a huge set and being on a, you know, a network television project doesn't necessarily fulfill that part. It's kind of like doing a play. You know, it fills up a different part of that love that you have for the art. So working on something, when something comes my way and it speaks to me, I do it, even if, you know, like the pay is small or whatever. And the really nice thing is I'm getting ready to direct my first short, and I met this filmmaker on it and a couple of other people on the set. I'm like, I want you to come work on my film. You know, you get new vision, you meet new people. There's always a lot to garner, you know, from anything you work on. If it's where you are, if it's your frequency, you're going to get something out of it. Even if it's not like a lot of money or a lot of, you know, a lot of people seeing it, you will get stuff from it. Yeah.
We are at 10:30. I'm going to ask my chat, should we continue for a bit? And will you, first of all, actually, can we continue for a little bit longer with you?
Oh, yeah. I'm fine.
We're in overtime. Now that means we're in overdrive. All right.
I'm going to lose my life.
Lisa Conhay's in the house. Justin says, awesome, for the love of the craft and keeping momentum in working, based on what you just said, right?
Justin, yes.
Lisa says, keep sharing. Jim Talbot just joined us. Charisse said, then it blew up. Andrew, my brother Galinsky, is in the chat now. Charisse is in the chat. And Justin says, love that, and your hair is fabulous. That must have been one of the photographs.
Hey, maybe my hair is fabulous right now.
I don't mean to take anything away from the moment here. Gekko's in the house. All right. Gekko is a brilliant performance artist.
Ooh, Gekko, hello.
in the early East Village 80s and 90s.
Nice.
I don't know why Andrew Einhorn said yes, duh. Cindy says, I love your soul. It's all about energy. Oh, what's your SNL question, Andrew? Tell me again. What's that question? Because I can't scroll back up there that quickly. While he's requeuing his question about Saturday Night Live, let's go to a couple more images before we finish up what's been a very fast half hour. There's Rosie.
There's Rosie. Yep. There I am, smoking away.
And were you a smoker at the time? Are you a smoker?
I'm not a smoker.
So that was just for the piece.
Yes. At
Yeah.
the time, yes. I was just smoking on.
Sacrifice. Amazing. Weird science. Talk
Weird
about.
science. Okay, I just want to give you guys, this is something I will reenact. This was one of my lines from Weird Science. First of all, Weird Science was my first official job in Hollywood. Okay. I had a co-star role, and this was one of my lines. Ready?
Yeah. Wait. Let me get rid of that so we can see it bigger. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Way. Thanks.
Wow. And you had to read for that line too?
Yep. I had more lines than that, but that's one of my favorite ones from that episode.
Can you do it again? Because it's becoming my favorite. I want to see
Yeah.
it.
Ready?
Yeah.
Way.
Wow. All right. I'm going to ask you to do it one more time. Not being facetious. You got to come a little closer to the camera. Because
Okay.
even closer, come a lot. Yeah, because it's the expression in before, during, and after is incredible.
Okay.
A little closer. All right, go ahead. Whenever you're ready.
Ready?
Yeah.
Way.
Brilliant.
I don't know how that turned out, but okay, good.
No, it was great. All 3 takes are usable. They're all workable.
I should have tossed it. I should have done it. I should have given you something a little different each time.
No, there was
But
that.
I really wanted to replay what I did on the day.
Shows the professionalism and the expertise you have that you're able to duplicate it on the spot immediately each time. Louisa says, thanks for your time and amazing work. How was it working on This Is Us? One of my favorite shows, says Charisse.
This Is Us. Oof, was amazing. I would have given anything for that character to come back. I was like praying daily, please. I will say that set, the energy on that set was so good. It just felt like home. It was amazing. Everybody from the producers and the director, down to hair and makeup and wardrobe. I actually knew the wardrobe people. I'd worked with them years before. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Gerald McRaney. Gerald McRaney, who played my father-in-law on that show. Consummate professional. What a gentleman. Brilliant. I will say it was a little hard to get used to the lighting. They do these, these bright lights. Yeah. And I was headed out of the country when I got that job, and I moved my trip. So I was like, on this show. Yeah. And I'm so glad I did. And my character hasn't been back, but you know what? There's always hope. There's always hope.
It's my brother Andrew who's watching us right now. It's one of his favorite shows.
Yeah.
Dylan Mooney of Actor Trade asks, if you had to choose one, would you rather do voice work or traditional acting work?
Ooh, at this point, I think it would be voice work, because it moves a lot quicker now that I'm older. If that's really why I want to direct now, is because when I'm on a set, I get extremely bored. There's so much downtime. And when I was younger, I don't know why it didn't bother me as much. But now that I'm a mom and I move, right? I'm moving. I've got stuff to do, places to go, people to see. And it's so fun in a booth because you can just be an absolute fool and do all your work, and then you're done and you can go on about. But so, yeah, probably voice.
Michael Swiske wants to know, is it Way, W-A-Y, or?
Yeah, Way.
It's not W-E-I-G-H.
No.
Okay.
Way.
Right. We're coming toward the close of our time together. So let's go back into your personal.
Yeah, that's Taken. We already did that one.
Taken. Okay.
That's my age 30, I think.
And that's your dark hair.
Yeah.
What's Nurse Ratched?
That's Pearl Harbor, which was a fascinating experience. Yeah.
Did they make you or ask you or want you to do a lot of research for that, or?
No.
Okay.
They did it all. They did all the research, but great experience.
Oh,
All
look at this one.
There we go. George Clooney, Nicholas Lang, Jamie Kaler, old
Wow.
friend of mine, Frank Langella, who I'm hanging on to, and Matt Adler, who was the writer, who's also an actor. I don't think he acted on it, but that was a pilot called Kilroy that I did with George and Frank and Nicholas.
George was this massive figure, correct?
Yeah, well, he executive produced it. It was his show for HBO. A good story about that was that everybody in Hollywood that year was like, "This is the one pilot that's going to go," and so of course I was like, "Oh, it's never going to go, never going to." So I didn't enjoy that time of being on like the one pilot that was like the rock star awesome pilot of the year, and then when it didn't go, I was still let down. So the lesson in that is celebrate the victories. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they're this long, sometimes they're this big, sometimes they last for years, but always celebrate the victories and don't anticipate the negative coming in ever.
Got you.
Yeah.
Brian is in the house. Brian Roncancio, who's one of New York's premier, I don't know if the word is bartender, because he has a whole program that he does over at a great place called The Roost, just around the corner. Dylan Mooney from Actor Trade says you don't look a day past 25. All right, so let's keep this going.
Thank you. God bless you.
Stephen Robert says the energy on Weird Science was good because of you hot women.
Oh, well.
Right? So Elizabeth Harder wants to know, how do you get into different character roles? What inspires you to get into character? So give us in a thumbnail, like, what is your little process like? They say, hey, this is the character. Where do you go immediately? What do you do?
Wow, you know what? A lot of it just takes over, but I will say that even wardrobe and hair and makeup for me does a lot for me. I know a lot of actors they like to have a lot of input on that sort of stuff, but for me, that's very helpful. And I just sort of fall in. I just sort of let that character come in and take over. I don't know how else to explain it.
A lot of my teachers are always talking about it's the words that do the work. You know, you don't really, you learn the words, you understand that, and they start to bring it out of you, right?
Yeah, and sometimes giving a little backstory or just making sure I know my story. Like, where am I from? Where was I earlier today? How did I grow up? Sometimes if I just add those things in, it sort of naturally develops in the performance. So
this is a fun one. All right, wait, before you say anything.
Okay.
Anybody in the chat, we're going to come back to this one. Anybody in the chat, the first person who recognizes what this is from, I will send you a gift. So whoever I see in chat, we're going to come back to this one. Whoever says it in chat first, type it in there, you get a gift. Talks about this.
Well, I mean, come on. I'm just going to say 2 words, which is Corey Feldman, 2 more, Papa Smurf.
Gotcha. Right.
At Playboy Mansion, Halloween, circa 1999, maybe. I don't look super excited, except for the fact that I was really excited to get my picture with Corey Feldman as Papa Smurf at the Playboy Mansion. I mean, what?
And you went as John Belushi dressed as a bumblebee, right?
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, no one believed me that people would know.
What's going on here?
Okay, so that's me and Bob Redford.
That's Robert Redford.
Yeah, my friend Bob. So this is actually one of my favorite jobs. I call it a job. It wasn't really a job. It was joy of my life. I went and I was really fortunate to get to go do the Director's Lab at Sundance, which is a program in the summer where they bring in, they choose like 10 scripts, I think it is, and they bring in a bunch of celebrity actors, directors, editors, music people, actors. Everybody donates their time and they help these directors shoot their hardest scenes. I think there's 3 or 4 scenes, 1 per week. Luckily, I was in all 3, so I got to stay for the whole 3 weeks. That's the second place where I was with J.O. Sanders. He was there. This particular picture, one day, Bob, myself, and one other person, his name is John. He's a director, and I feel really bad that I can't remember his last name because he and I became really close for a bit of time. The 3 of us went on a horseback ride. for like 6 hours on Robert Redford's
Is
sprawling 6,000 acres.
is Robert Redford the super sweet gentleman that the world sees and
Yes.
says, yeah,
He's a rock star.
it's
He's
beautiful.
amazing. I totally fell for him.
Here's another one, a little paparazzi here. We got George Lucas. Who else is in this photo? And what's
Let's see, Donald, starting on the one end, Donald Faison, Seth Green, George Lucas, the man himself, me with my hand on George Lucas, just add that in there. Dan Milano, who you may or may not know is a huge voiceover actor. He's on The Croods, the TV show. He's a writer, was a writer on Robot Chicken and a bunch of voices on Robot Chicken. And he did Greg the Bunny, which was an IFC show. It was puppeteer guy, really, really super duper funny guy. And then Hugh Sterbikoff, who's another writer on Robot Chicken and some other great projects.
There's our boy, J.O. Sanders.
There he is.
Picnic.
Yeah, that was it. That was actually at Sundance, that one.
Okay, and what do we got here?
This is, you have all these pictures from Cold Case. It was a really popular episode, evidently.
And then Pearl Harbor.
And then Pearl Harbor. Yeah. I mean, that was really a really fascinating experience because that's probably the biggest set I've ever been on with the most complicated. I mean, there was so much money and so much going into this. The set was like, it was mind blowing, you know, and just sort of all the energy, all the ego, all that good stuff.
And then
And we'll stop that.
hook up with this little bad girl. What? You're in a boxing ring. I'm a boxing fan. What's going on with that?
Yeah, you know what? This was actually, that was a photo shoot for, I want to say Detour magazine, for, oh gosh, what's the designer? It's a really good designer. I can't remember.
Whatever.
Dolce & Gabbana.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there you go. So I was wearing really fancy old clothes at a boxing ring.
Well, you know, I don't know if the chat is broken or not, but nobody has the answer to that image. Nobody's even typing anymore. There's a lot of hearts going up. So we're going to go back to that image. And hey, I guess I don't have to give anybody a gift, but let's go back to that image so that we can decipher the mystery. There it is.
Oh, so good. I love that photo. So the mystery is, so first of all, that's my television debut. That's my grandmother's television that she froze and took a picture of me there with the arrow on me. That's Elijah Wood. And it was a Super Bowl Lay's potato chips commercial for the 1994 Super Bowl in Atlanta. So I shot that at the Georgia Dome. So it was like my very first job before I moved to Hollywood, being an extra in the
Nice.
background.
Did you think that being in Atlanta, being a native of Atlanta, helped get that role? Was that part of it? You were.
Well, I hadn't moved to LA yet. So, and it was, I don't know, I got cast in Atlanta. But the funny thing about that picture too is that I later, many years later, became friends with Elijah. And my boyfriend at the time, I showed him that picture. I said, "You can't believe I have this picture." He thought it was so funny. He taped it to the fridge. The next time that Elijah was over, he saw it. And I think it actually kind of freaked him out. Because he wasn't like, "That's amazing. That's unbelievable." He was like, "Okay." And I ended up working with him years later on Wilfred. And I was like, "Remember me? Hey, in the picture, we haven't seen each other in years." And then I was like, "Oh, right. And he was like, it all came back. Because I just thought that was so funny. I had that picture. I think it's a great picture.
We're gonna finish now. I really want to say I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us. I have one last question that we're gonna go to, but before I do, you want to tell us where people can again find what you're doing? I mean, you mentioned the podcast. Say that again. Derelict.
It's called Derelict. You can find it on any podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Music.
And there was a short film, River, was it?
It's called Dear Rosa, and we were supposed to go to a couple different film festivals. I doubt that's happening now. We actually have won a couple of awards. I got a Best Supporting Actress award. Who knew, right? See, you do something, you never know. And I have a couple other shorts that are in the mix, and I'm getting ready to direct whenever we get out of these
Cool.
little holes. I'll have a film to talk about.
This little thing called quarantine.
Yeah.
So my last question is getting your own work. We have
Yes.
talked about this for a second. So just give us your wisdom or your thoughts on getting your own work and not waiting.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I've been doing that myself for the last couple of years because I sort of stepped out. I was still working, but I stepped out to raise my kids, and then coming back in, being older and sort of, trying to fall back into the river of the mix. I sort of, my agents, God bless them, that I have agents. I love them. I've been with them for a really long time, and things weren't moving. So I just have started to try and get my own work, and I try to work with other people that I like. And I just want to say too that, don't ever dismiss a relationship. You never know where it's going to go. I have one director I've worked with 3 times, people, there's ebb and flow, and always, sticking with people who are where you are and not compromising your morals, your ethics, and doing stuff that you don't want to do to satisfy anybody outside of yourself, I think is really important. And I do think you can get your own work. It's hard. The business is changing all the time. Who knows what it's going to be like after this?
Interesting. Yeah.
Going to rise up, take over.
Right on. The new feel. Thank you, Chad. You're awesome. I really appreciate you spending time with us. Thank you, Chatter.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm not sure what happened with our chat. I mean, I think it's still working, but I haven't seen a new comment since I offered that challenge with the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That chicken.
They're all searching. Let's hope that's that, and they didn't all go to sleep.
All right, I'm going to bring us back to our final, our original promo image of you and the show here.
And thanks everyone for coming to listen or watch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Everybody be safe. Take care of yourselves. Love and light.
Peace.